everybody, and welcome to the third episode of Articulate Thoughts. Today is Tuesday, September the 5th, 12 p.m., and it is a very interesting day for me so far. I had this really random thought. It's really cool. Something I found out a little while ago that I wanted to share on this episode. Growing up in like high school, university years, I was really into this band called Monine, and they were kind of from the local area where I'm from, so like Mississauga, Ontario. But this band was like from Mississauga or Brampton area, and I was really obsessed with their music. They were really good band, and every time I saw them, they gave such a great show, had wicked energy, and just like had really good music. I kind of felt like in terms of what each band member contribute to the music, the drummer was by far the best. Like he's kind of like Tom Barker for like Blink 182. He's just like such an awesome drummer, and all the other guys just kind of follow that, which is what's a drummer supposed to be anyways in a band, a good band anyways. But yeah, so I was a really big fan of the drummer in particular, and I found out like a couple months ago that one of the guys I work with, like one of the kitchen guys, is cousins with this drummer, and like it just blew my mind. Like I moved like 4,000 kilometers away from my hometown and ended up meeting the cousin of, you know, the drummer of this band. So it was a really cool like whoa kind of moment for me that I wanted to share today. Anywho, so the main topic I want to talk about today is positive mental attitude, and yeah, it's something that I used to be very bad at, and I was always negative. I had self doubt, self confidence issues, and just my self talk in my mind was just constantly negative. And yeah, I put myself in a really bad position physically, mentally, and emotionally, and yeah, I just got into a really sticky situation there. But from there, I learned the importance of like your attitude and how you feel about yourself really shapes your reality. Like it really, like your perception does really create reality. Like I was so negative for myself, and I created a living hell. So it was a very interesting learning experience, but I realized the power of positive mental attitude. So read a lot of books. Listened to a lot of audios, went to some seminars and stuff, and I really developed this like habit of always positive thinking. And then had some pretty few interesting conversations last week that brought some awareness to my attention. And this is one funny topic that comes up with some people I've been chatting with, and it's like the same thing, but this one particular person labeled it like Bliss Bunny, and it was just funny. So it's basically people who are like thinking positively all the time, nonstop, like everything is so awesome, and don't get me wrong, like positive mental attitude is great, but there's like a time and place for it. Like if you're just constantly there and you refuse to look at anything negative because like oh like taking that attitude of like creating your own reality and then being overly sensitive where every single little thought is going to manifest like something terrible, like I find like that's what I've been doing a lot lately, and I didn't really catch it till I started having these sequence of conversation, this idea of being a bliss bunny. Like the metaphor that I use for like a positive mental attitude is like a gold digger. Like you're digging for gold, right? So when you dig for gold, you're gonna find a little piece of nugget, but you have got to move like tons and tons and tons of dirt. You got to filter through all this other stuff. So like that's always been a strong metaphor for me and helped me develop that over the years. But um, I realized this before, but I'm just kind of learning it again because that's how these kinds of things work. Like you get introduced to a concept, or I get introduced to a concept, and then it just keeps on reoccurring in my life, and then I learn more and more about, have a stronger understanding of the concept and how to use it and when to recognize when to use it. But yeah, so I realizing that I'm being this bliss bunny and I have to be, and then the downfall of that is not really being real with the situation. Like again, like perception creates reality. That's true, but you get influenced by everything around you. Everything like is always like there's all these like constantly these quiet whispers, or it depends on the environment you're in. If certain environment, it's more like a loudspeaker that just screaming in your face, and like you just like you can't avoid it, and then you just kind of go with the flow and then go that way. whatever that sound is telling you to do. But yeah, forgot what I was going. I was on like so many different points, going so many different directions right now. It's a very broad topic for me, and I'm trying to squish it to a 10-minute video. And I'm still kind of new at this and a little bit nervous or whatnot. But anyway, I digress. So I guess I'll just kind of pick up about like uh there is something about like negativity that it is that you could draw positivity from. Um, what I tend to do is I try to take it like when I'm in like, I feel like I could feel myself in a negative state. I'll be like sad, depressed, or whatnot. Always try to nudge my thoughts to get myself into a place of anger. I feel anger is a very powerful emotion. It's very motivating. It really pushes you and helps you to focus on one particular thing. And then with like that all that pent up energy, like you just feel like you have to do something, so you take action. You tend to take action when you're in that state. So I always try to nudge my emotions to an angry state where I get really angry, and then direct that anger in towards taking action that will work towards resolving the situation. Because in most cases, when you're angry about something, there's like you know your mind goes in different directions as to like what you want to do about the situation, and that's the great thing about anger too. It kind of inspires you to have those kinds of ideas, like to take action. Like when you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, when you're very depressed and you're very sad, like the thing is like you feel like you can't do anything, like you can't see the options in front of you, and that's why it's very disabling in a lot of ways. Um, yeah, so anger is a great emotion, and I think a lot of people are kind of scared to express it because when you're angry, you might want to break stuff or whatever. Um, this is why, like, I feel it's good to be physically active in something. Like martial arts is a really great one. I find dancing to be very great. A lot of people run or power lift. All these are really good. So like when you do come across an angry state, like it's not as pent up or built up from like being ignored. Like using your body to move, like I find helps relieve that some of that tension, so it's not as balled up. And then when those situations do come up, because you're not so ramped up and overwhelmed, then you could kind of be a little bit more logical in the situation. And again, just see the options and then redirecting that energy to actions towards those possible solutions. So, anyways, I think this is. I'll just cut it off here. I guess I feel like it's pretty good, and yeah, this is only my third episode, but I'm liking what's happening so far, and I find myself getting more and more excited every week to do the new episode. But yeah, if you guys have any feedback, comments, concerns, whatnot, please leave in the box, and like that might influence what I talk about in the next episode, or maybe not. But it'd just be great to hear some feedback. So, anyways, got a few other things to do with my day. So, thank you very much for tuning in, and see you next week, hopefully, for the fourth episode of Articulate Thoughts.